What's going on? Brian Tong here, and this is my review for Samsung's new Mini LED TV, the highly anticipated QN90A. And look, here it is, the QN90A. It just brings a whole bunch of new tech, so we're gonna talk about its new display, the picture quality, and its design, and some of its unique features, and really just figure out, with so many top-tier TVs on the market today, who does this TV make the most sense for? And before we jump into this, Samsung, they sent me this TV out just for me to review for the purpose of this review, so it's gonna go right back out to them when I'm done. And this review isn't gonna be the type that we're using calibration tools to give you specific performance metrics, but the goal here is to highlight what stands out and help you make the right purchasing decision for you. Now, right out of the gates, I can confidently say the QN90A has the best image quality that I have ever seen on a Samsung TV that's available to purchase for the general consumer today. And this is all thanks to its new Mini LED display. We know that TCL first brought the technology to the US about a couple of years ago, and Samsung and LG are now bringing their own versions in 2021. But the gold standard for image quality has been LG or Sony's OLED displays, which allow the TV to individually control and then turn on and off each individual pixel, which gets you these unrivaled control and deepest blacks that you'll find. Well, Mini LED is still a backlit display, and that has backlit zones or areas, and it can't control every single pixel individually. But with Mini LED now, there are now significantly more zones with smaller LEDs that allow it to bring you deeper blacks, more detail, and less of that blooming effect where maybe you have a white image against a black background that can bleed out or have that kind of glow around it. We call it blooming. It is still there to some degree, but not as bad because, look, this is the nature of the technology, but it's just not nearly as pronounced as before. Now, Samsung is calling their Mini LED tech their Neo QLED display, and it's built differently than others with their own LEDs that are 40th the size of a typical LED. So fun fact, that is the same size as a grain of sand, so really tiny. Samsung's Neo QLED gives us even better black levels and details that get us closer to an OLED image than we have seen ever before. And you can tell immediately when you first look at it, like when I saw this, I'm like, okay, you could, if you've looked at a lot of TVs over time, instantly it just popped different on this screen, especially from Samsung versus their previous LED backlit displays. With Mini LED, this results in a higher contrast while maintaining Samsung's superior brightness in the TV space, while also getting you those deep blacks and less of a blooming effect. Now, if your TV is in an area that gets just a lot of natural light coming in, like a living room, having a brighter TV screen just makes a huge difference, and this is where Samsung TVs have always been able to outperform OLEDs in the past. We know OLEDs are great if they're placed in a darker environment, and they are getting brighter these days. It's still the gold standard for image quality, but not everyone is living in a dark man cave, and Samsung excels with its top-tier brightness while still maintaining its great image quality. Now, HDR content on these TVs hits 1,000 nits and can even reach as high as 2,000 depending on the type of content you have. So this TV can get real bright. Mini LED has made it even more impressive now since you still get that super brightness that Samsung's known for, but you get deeper looking blacks, you get improved image quality, and this happens across the board. Now, I think when you look at this TV, it might be time to revisit Man of Steel, specifically on here, just for all my HDR junkies out there, and you're really getting some of the best benefits from now, both Mini LED and close to OLED performance here, all combined into one. Like, I had this set to the cinema setting, just so you can see its images properly on this camera, otherwise it would just be too bright. This TV itself sets the standard for brightness on a flagship TV, and hopefully what you're seeing translates well on screen where, you know, you might think, if I never said anything, that this is an OLED TV that you're looking at. It's also an anti-reflective screen, so I have a lot of lights and equipment here to brighten up this space in this room, but if you have a keen eye, you can tell it's doing a pretty dang good job at keeping those reflections tame and in check. Another improvement is its wide angle viewing. Now, you won't be able to get as far off to the sides as you can with an OLED. That's just not the nature of this technology, but it's so much better. I mean, I'm looking here, I'm not seeing kind of that shadowy degradation here, but it's still good, and it's not a deal breaker that should hold you back. Now, as for content support, it supports HDR10+, but that means it does not support Dolby Vision. It's still gonna look great with HDR content, but Dolby Vision just has that like little extra punch and pop to it. Again, not a deal breaker, but if that's important to you, it's worth mentioning. The design here, though, is super clean. You have this kind of angular edge, kind of beveled metal frame. The edges here are classy, and there's normally the space between the on-screen image and the physical bezel of the TV. It's kind of this little black space you see here in between there. It's called the black matrix, so whoever made up that name is hella cool. But the QN90A currently has the thinnest black matrix for a 4K TV other than their 97% all-screen display on the QN900A, which is an 8K TV. Design-wise for me, I prefer a TV stand that's really as low profile as possible, but that's probably because I don't use a soundbar. But the QN90A, the stand gives you just more than enough height and space for a soundbar if you're looking at it without blocking the TV image at all. It's not my personal preference, but it's important, especially with how many people are using soundbars these days. But look, it's still clean and minimal when you're looking at it head on. In fact, I mean, just ratio size-wise, it's pretty small compared to the overall size of this TV. Also here, the sound quality from the QN90A is good, but I honestly think that I've been spoiled by listening to the built-in audio from Sony's A90J. Now that uses its OLED panel by vibrating it in different areas to deliver sound from different locations on the panel to you. I mean, it's just really impressive without any additional speakers. And again, this is not bad sound from the QN90A, but it also could be better. And you do have the ability to pair it with several of their soundbars like the Q900A and higher end ones where it uses the TV speakers in combination together with the soundbar and subwoofer for a more impressive sound. And I don't know if this is an intended feature, but there are these like defined grooves on the back of the stand and the rear of the TV that allowed me to kind of tuck in the power cable and do some cable management from the back. So yeah, it's groovy. On the back side, you get 4 HDMI ports, but only one of them is an HDMI 2.1 port. Now that's not a reason to walk away from this TV, but depending on the type of user you are, you should at least be aware of it because it might come into play down the road. Now port 3 is the only one that supports eARC, so if you have a soundbar, use that one for it. But for all my gamers out there, all 4 ports can handle 4K at 120 Hz with variable refresh rate and auto low latency mode, which are features that you gotta have if you're doing any kind of gaming on this TV. It also has some unique gaming specific features. You got game mode, which allows you to see the game bar that will display your frame rates per second, also your variable refresh rate and other metrics. Now within there with game view, you can change your screen ratio from 16:9 to 21:9 or even 32:9 to get more of a PC gaming ultra-wide monitor experience, but right from your TV, so that's just pretty slick. It's also got multi-view for up to 2 sources, so you can do something like play a video game and then watch how to do it on a walkthrough on YouTube at the same time because, you know, we're living in a multitasking world now. Longtime Samsung TV owners might miss the One Connect box that allowed you to plug in your set-top boxes and other media sources externally from the TV and just made the cable mess a lot more manageable. Well, there is no One Connect box for this TV, but if you're new to Samsung TVs, you won't even know it existed. Content-wise, you're gonna have all the streaming apps that you can think of. HBO Max is here, but it's still not on every TV like LG ones. You also have instant access to what I'd call, I guess, background filler content that you can just kind of jump to and play to. I mean, you might actually enjoy some of it, but Samsung TV Smart Plus gives you 160 channels of content to flip through. Ambient mode allows your TV to blend into its room and be more than this big black rectangle doing nothing against your wall. It's a feature Samsung has had for a while. You can get different patterns or kind of moving images, but it's unique and it just enhances how this fits into your home. And I did not forget to talk about its solar cell remote. One of the most unique things about this TV experience, guess what? Remotes matter now. It's pretty minimalistic here and I prefer that. It's a great fit in the hand for me, but if you flip it over, this is the first remote ever that's rechargeable by sunlight and indoor light. That's right. I said indoor light, like the lights from your ceiling. If you're thinking like, this is crazy, it's because it has never been done before. Now also, if you live in like a dark and dank basement, it can still be charged via USB-C and the solar cell remote lasts up to 2 years, saving you from replacing batteries multiple times. So what's the overall takeaway from the Samsung QN90A? Well, Samsung's Neo QLED display with its MiniLED technology gets this TV closer to OLED performance than it ever has while also maintaining its top-notch brightness. The QN90A is now really a TV that, depending on your viewing environment, could easily be the TV to get over an OLED because of its benefits and versatility. And we know MiniLED has really raised the stakes at a reasonable price. You look at something like the 50-inch QN90A, it starts at $14.99. Well, this 65-inch here retails for $25.99. We know you got different promotions at different times, so that may change its pricing, but that's where it's at. And I used to always be in the camp of OLED is the way to go and nothing else matters, but Mini LED tech and the QN90A has finally made a compelling argument for really one of the best TVs of the year and the TV with the best non-OLED image quality that we have seen so far in 2021.